Welcome back, playground learners. Today we're going to learn how to add and subtract decimals. It's important to know that a decimal point separates whole numbers from parts. To add or subtract decimals, you must first line up the decimal points. For our first problem, A, we're going to add 8.13 plus 2.76. Notice how I lined up my decimal points, and therefore my place values are also lined up. So we'll start with 3 plus 6 equals 9. 1 plus 7, bring down my decimal point, and 8 plus 2 is 10, giving us our final answer of 10.89. Moving on to B, I have 1.459 plus 23.7. Again, it's so important that when you're adding these decimal points, you are lining up those decimals. So make sure you're lining those decimals up. You'll notice that my 1 isn't over my 2, but it is over my 3, so it's over the 1's place, and then my decimal points are lined up there as well. And I'm going to add them. And I'm also going to include zeros. So you'll notice that I insert zeros on the number that has less decimal places. It is important and key to insert zeros so both numbers have the same number of decimal places. This will in the long run make it easier for you when you are adding and or subtracting. With our decimal places lined up, we can now add. So we have 9 plus 0 equals 9. 5 plus 0, 5. 4 plus 7 is 11, carry that 1. 3 plus 1 is 4, plus 1, 5. And then 2 plus 0 is 2, giving us our final answer of 25.159. All right, let's go ahead and begin subtracting now. So now I'm subtracting 5.508 minus 3.174. The same rule applies here. You need to line up those decimal points in order to subtract. 8 minus 4 is 4. 0 minus 7 you cannot do, so you need to go next door. So I'll cross off my 0, cross off my 5, turn 5 into 4, and 0 into 10. 10 minus 7, 3. 4 minus 1, 3. Bring down my decimal point for 3 places. Decimal point is brought down. 5 minus 3 is 2. So now I have 2.334 is my final answer. So we're going to do the same thing for B. On B, you're subtracting 21.9 by 1.605. Again, line up those decimal points. The ones in the one place are also lined up. You'll notice that 21.9 has less decimal places, so add in zeros to represent the same number of decimal places in the first number as in the second number. It makes it easier when you are adding and subtracting. Again, this is a key tool for you to use. Add those zeros. They're there, we just don't see them in 21.9. So add them. And you'll notice when we go into subtracting why it's important to have those zeros. So if I was to then begin to subtract, I know that 0 minus 5 is not possible. So what do you need to do? When there's more on the floor, you go next door. So let's take a look. 0 minus 5 isn't possible. So if I go next door, it's 0. That's not possible. Go next door again. That turns into an 8. My second 0 turns into a 10. Now I'm going to borrow from that, so that turns into a 9. And that 0 on the end, I can make a 10 finally. So 10 minus 5 is 5. 9 minus 0 is 9. 8 minus 6 is 2. Bring down that decimal. 1 minus 1 and 2 minus 0. Final answer of 20.295. Be careful. Line up those decimal points and add zeros in order to create the same number of decimal places in each number before adding or subtracting your numbers. Next, we have adding and subtracting decimals inside of a word problem. It reads, your meal at the school cafeteria cost $3.45. Your friend's meal cost $3.90. You pay for both meals with a $10 bill. How much change do you receive? The first thing you need to do is find out how much both meals cost together. So you must add $3.45 and $3.90 together to find out the total cost. So 3.45 plus 3.90. Lining up those decimals and adding them together. 5 plus 0 is 5. 4 plus 9 is 13. Carry your 1. 3 plus 3 is 6 plus 1. That is 7. So your total cost for both meals is $7.35. Next, we need to identify how much change you would receive when paying with a $10 bill. So we need to subtract, and we're going to subtract $7.35 from $10. To represent $10, we're going to put 10.00 minus our 7.35, lining up those decimals. Because we cannot subtract from a 0, we must go all the way over to our tens place, turn that into a 0 because we're borrowing from there. The next 0 becomes a 10. Then we're going to borrow from that one, turn it into a 9, and turn the next 0 in our tenths place into a 10. Borrowing from that one, turn that one into a 9. Then our hundredths place is a 10. So we've borrowed all of our zeros. Now we're doing 10 minus 5 is 5. 9 minus 3 is 6. Bring down that decimal. 9 minus 7 is 2, and 0 is 0 in that tens place. So our final answer for this problem, how much change do you receive? Well, you receive $2.65 in change. The total change you received is $2.65.